All right, let's get it. This is Nap Knows Buffalo. Casey is back this week. I know you guys missed him last week, even though he put out his absolutely horrific draft, which, by the way, I am 2-0 in our drafts now. Not to pat myself on the back there, but I am 2-0 in our drafts. So I'm just going to keep that rolling.
No one should believe that I drafted that because E.J. Manuel was not on that list. Ronald Darby was not on that list. Nick O'Leary was not on that list. Like a lot of Florida State players were not on that list. And then you had fat ass Doug Marrone on that list. Like I would pick him.
That was a great choice on our part. Was it Doug Marrone? That made your list just completely like nobody could pick it at that point.
Well, and the thing about that is y'all are probably like, and of course I didn't listen to the podcast.
No, of course, and we said that on it too.
I know. I didn't listen to it, but I knew you said that. But I bet y'all were thinking like, hey, I bet Casey and Doug Marrone would get along. Let's put them at a lunch table together. That was a good thought too. Yeah. So I won the lunch table draft. I will continue winning the drafts as we do those in the future whenever they happen. But let's welcome in. Obviously, he's been in the show if you've been watching YouTube, but he's been quiet in the background, just kind of waiting for his turn. Let's welcome in Dom Brown, who is are we going with Buffalo rapper, right? That would be the best way to put it, or do you want to do Rochester, Buffalo? How do you like to describe it?
Well, I rap out of Buffalo, I would say. You know how fighters fight out of certain places? So
right, yeah.
I rap out of Buffalo.
Okay, all right. So Buffalo rapper, Dom Brown. If you don't know who he is, I'm sure you've probably heard his Buffalo Bills anthems that he's put out. It's 3 years now, right, that you've been doing that?
I've been doing them for
a couple more years than that. Yeah. Okay, so I know for a fact I've been in on the last 3.
My first one was called Tyrod, and then I did Buffalo Bills anthem. Buffalo is the Mafia.
Okay, yeah,
rocking with the Bills, and then this year I have to.
Yeah, so part of the reason we're having Dom on is that we're going to have his song officially, technically debut at the end as the outro song on this podcast. So you will hear it first, and then you will go and you will download it and stream it everywhere that you possibly can. Where's the song going to be out, by the way?
So this is what I think I'm going to do. I think I will put it on SoundCloud first. People can download it. It's early in the preseason. I've said names in songs before that I had to scratch out or redo. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to put it on streaming services.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is going to be the first one, and I'll let people download it. They can have it. And then
do you have Jerry Hughes mentioned in the song? Is that why you don't want to put it out? Because Nap is an
we're not doing this again. We're not doing this again. I did not say I want him cut.
I'm asking questions. This is an interview, Nap. This is what you do. You ask the hard-hitting questions.
Well, his name will be in the song.
All right, there we go.
See? Get out of here.
Is there? All right, we're gonna really put you on the spot here. Is there anybody?
Yeah, I'm a season ticket holder, so hey. All
right, is there anybody that you're nervous about being in the song of what if they're the one that I have to cut out afterwards? What if I got to redo their part? Really putting you on the spot here. And if you don't want to answer that, I get it, but I feel like we got to ask.
I think the running backs, any of the running backs.
Just trying to figure out how that's all going to work out. I mean, it's a crowded backfield. You never know.
I did plan on mentioning Breda too, because I did hear that the Bills were planning on keeping 3. But I guess I'm not too nervous about anyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I would assume you're not dropping the practice squad guys from last year. I'm assuming you're not dropping their names.
No, but no, for sure, no. Not at all.
All right, so
I guess Jerry Hughes would be the one that I would be like, oh, it is possible.
Can I get an apology? Can I get an apology real quick, Nap?
Why would I apologize for what?
Because you cut me off. You thought that I was just coming at you. You
were doing a little bit of stir in the pot. That's exactly what you were doing.
I was just saying you're an advocate for cutting him because you say that pressures are not equating to sacks and that he needs to go.
I don't know when I said this.
That's what you said. Run it back, guys. Go back and rewatch our YouTube channel. It's on there. He said it. He said it the past 3 shows.
But no, that's fair. I mean, they did keep 5 running backs
coming from Casey, who didn't listen to the last show.
I never listened to this show.
All right, so
I guess that's the good thing about our team. That I guess it's a good thing that we kind of know what our core is.
So that is one of the really good things. Is that going into training camp, there was there's not really many big question marks on is this guy going to make the roster? They're mainly fringe roster guys that are like that, but there's definitely just still been training camp battles that we've had to watch out for, which we didn't really cover training camp stuff last week. Kind of wanted to see how things played out a little bit, at least the first couple of days of training camp, the first week or so. We're about a week in now at this point. We'll start with you, Dom. From what you have seen on social media and whatnot, and I don't know if you got a chance to actually get to the practice.
Yeah, I went
on Saturday. You did go. Okay, so what was something that kind of stuck out to you while you were there at practice? Was there a player? Was there a moment?
Star Lotulelei, is that how you say his name?
Lotulelei, yeah.
He was very small.
Really?
He looked small, like he wasn't heavy, bunch of belly. He looked like a fit, he just looked very fit, a muscle, all muscle.
Do you look like Aaron Donald to an extent? He's just muscle. He's just muscle.
No. His body type was very similar, but he wasn't like Aaron Donald's.
He's a different. Yeah, he's a different guy.
But but it was his body was slimmer, and I was like, what? I had to look. I was like, what? Who is that? And they were like, Star, and I was like, wow.
That's unexpected. I mean, we did see that video of him training probably a month or so back, and it got real big. I know it got big on Twitter, Facebook, and everything. And people were starting to get a little nervous because they were like, oh, is Star not going to be that fat one tech plug up the holes type of guy? He could still do that if he's slimmed down as long as he's still strong. But I mean, I'm actually surprised that he is still slimmer than expected, if we're being honest.
I mean, if he can move quick, I mean, they drafted Oliver, so maybe he felt like that's the style they wanted.
Yeah. I mean, if he's
to me, it shows that he wasn't just sitting down when he was out, though. That's
right.
It shows me he was working out. He wasn't just sitting eating last year because he opted out, right?
Yeah. Casey, what was do you remember the quote that you had on this? Because you said something almost similar to that when we talked about it before.
It was, no shit, he's working out. He's not a fat piece of shit laying in bed eating Cheetos like me. And I never got the whole, somebody takes a year off because of the COVID and you just automatically assume they're just not going to do shit. These people get paid. You know what I'm saying? They get paid
when you're
to play
rich,
this sport.
You get bored. So I gotta go work out. I gotta.
Well, I mean,
this time to work out.
Not only that, but they took the year off because it was hey, we're gonna take the year off. When COVID gets situated, you can come back. That was the whole thing. He was gonna come back. It wasn't oh, I'm gonna take a year off and never come back at all. So you better come back with a fire, because if you're gonna take a year off, regardless,
he's older.
Exactly.
That's the thing. That was the worry. That was the worry.
Exactly. Well, I mean, you don't want to come back, and because of your age, because how long you've been in the league, and because of the younger players that are coming in, you want to come back fit. You want to come back athletic. You want to come back stirring the pot, right? You want to come back just destroying folks. You don't want to come back a fat piece of shit, not being able to do anything. So, Nap, I put out a tweet the other day that almost seemed like it should have been on a graphic that a lot of people on Twitter liked. And it was, Josh is no concern of mine. If he has a good day in camp, he's supposed to. If he has a bad day in camp, well, it's camp. I don't expect Josh to be the problem. He's not the problem with the team. And I just thought I'd bring that up. We don't talk about Josh Allen a lot on this show.
Well, I wasn't evaluating him at all. I wasn't evaluating him. Yeah.
No, because you expect him to do good. And if he does bad, what is the thought process? Well, it's camp. Let's just wait until the regular season starts. He's not one of those people. But to answer your question, as far as who has stood out for me on training camp, it's Gregory Rousseau. I pointed out during draft process, hey, I think Gregory Rousseau is going to go first round. I love this kid out of Miami. He's living up to his first round status, I believe, in training camp. Now, with all that being said, it's training camp. hey guys, look at me. It's training camp. So everybody needs to calm down. But the fact that your first rounder is going out there and every single day you're getting news saying, Gregory Rousseau had another great, strong, day, blah, blah, blah. Gregory Rousseau had another sack. Gregory Rousseau had a pressure. Like, these are things that you want to hear. You don't want to hear, cough, cough, the Eagles, so-and-so has a leg cramp and is going to be out 3 weeks. You don't want to hear that from your first rounder. So I'm very impressed by Gregory Rousseau. I hope he continues to go. And that begs the question, who do you think is going to have a greater impact? Is it Gregory Rousseau or is it Basham? I mean, that's where it is right now, because Basham is kind of in the background. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and we actually talked about this. I think it might have been like 2 weeks ago.
It was.
Literally just 2 weeks ago when I was saying, like, I think Basham's probably going to have the bigger impact right away, because all the reports were that he was more pro ready. But then training camp hits. It sounds like Basham's running with the 2s and the 3s, and Russo's running with the 1s and the 2s. And that might be partially because of Jerry Hughes not being there right now, because he still hasn't passed his physical. But he's still getting that work ahead of Basham. So he's showing it. And what I really liked, actually, because he was actually going to be the guy that I brought up, him, AJ Epinesa, Basham. I was gonna mention all three of them, because I was actually looking at I think it was Mario Addison, his press conference today. He was saying how great it was to see those three guys being as young as they are, 2 of them rookies, 1 of them going into his second year, seeming like they are so much far ahead of where he was at that point in his career, and just being athletic beasts, because they are tall, they can move, they got long arms, they're going to cause some real problems in the passing lanes. Like, he seemed like they were going to be a problem this year if they could kind of get their legs under them early enough in the season, because they seem like they have all of the pieces together that, like, you need to have in order to be successful. We just got to see if it happens in the game. I really liked hearing that from a veteran like Addison, who, even though, like, he didn't play as great as we wanted him to last year, he's been around. Like, he's seen a lot of guys come through, so he knows, okay, this guy, he might have it, he might not. Like, you like hearing that sort of stuff from vets. So when he said that, there was reports that they were having good camps, but I feel like that means even more than when a reporter says it. Like, all due respect to all of the great reporters that the Bills have, but when you have a player really say something, like LaShawn McCoy said stuff about Josh Allen. He was like, I don't like rookies, but like he was like he's the real deal. He's the real deal. And so you get a veteran who starts to act like they're answering questions, and they're not just saying like, yeah, he's been good. Like, yeah, they're doing good in camp. Like, they're doing whatever they're supposed to do. Like, they're really going out of their way to answer their questions and, like, put on a little bit more for the rookie or for the younger guy. That tells me they got something special there. Yeah. So I'm really excited for that. I was actually going to, since you mentioned that, I was going to go with the offensive line. And it's not necessarily for the best reasons, because obviously right now we're missing 2 players, Deion Dawkins, and I think Ike Bacher's out right now. They're both in COVID protocol still. So
they're both were on the field, though.
Were they? So they were.
Bucker was on the field for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
So he might not have been a close contact then. I don't really know how all of those rules are still working, honestly.
They change every hour, so
yeah. But that's something that I'm actually really looking forward to seeing how that all plays out, because do we even see Josh Allen play in the first preseason game if Deion Dawkins isn't good to go? Like, why would we even risk that if he's not out there, even if it's just for a series?
We will see him for a series, but we shouldn't. But we will. We'll see him for a series. No, they're not going to pull him. They're going to let him go, one series down the field, pull on, put it in Trubisky, really drive up his trade, value. They're not going to trade Trubisky because, once again, he's the best backup we've had since Josh has been there. I don't care what anybody says. They're not going to trade him. But you're right. You make a good point about the offensive line. That and the back end is kind of our weak spot. We did not have a good offensive line last year, so it's very interesting to see, especially with the additions they've made on the offensive line. Spencer Brown, cough, cough. And by the way, why is everybody just now jumping on the Spencer Brown train? Right? He gets into camp and they're like, "Oh, I love Spencer Brown." It's like, you didn't love him when we picked him. Just saying.
I mean, he is a big. Were you, Dom? Were you on the Spencer Brown hype train when he got drafted?
I wasn't. I wasn't. I really was just worried about the 2 DNs.
That's fair. I mean, the guys who you expect to get in there right away.
In the Marquette and Stevenson, for sure.
All right, now we got a discussion here. Because we got a couple guys in Buffalo Fanatics who they are either all in on Isaiah McKenzie this year or they're all in on Marquez Stevenson. And I feel like it should probably be like Isaiah McKenzie's going to be the guy and maybe Stevenson makes the roster. That's just where I stand.
That's where I stand.
Okay, so you're
I think no matter what. I think no matter what happens in training camp, I think that McKenzie's just making all the right moves, like in the public. So I'll play for Skittles, like I just feel like the team, like McDermott and Bean, they love that stuff. He's good. So and he's good.
I worked with a guy who, like Isaiah McKenzie, was a really good guy, right? Really good guy. And I remember when he got transferred and somebody asked me about him, I said, well, he's a good guy, but being a good guy doesn't pay the bills. So just because McKenzie is doing all the right things does not mean that Marquez Stevenson can't just jump up in there, steal that job. So now is it going to happen? There is a chance that it might. Will it happen? Probably not. I would say 25% chance that it happens. 25%.
I think we're looking at a situation where with everything that has been coming out from teammates, once again, I value what the teammates say a little bit more. From the teammates, they're saying Isaiah McKenzie not only is like he saying the right things on the field, off the field, whatever, he is actually doing the right things on the field. He is getting open. He is catching the ball. Like he is making plays all over the place from everything that we've seen so far. So I'm not saying that he's just going to be this incredible player by any means. He's going to be Isaiah McKenzie most likely. Like that's what he is. Like he's not going to all of a sudden turn into what Stephon Diggs did. But I don't think we should be looking at this as a situation where Marquez Stevenson is taking Isaiah McKenzie's job, because Isaiah McKenzie has been doing the right things, saying the right things. He's been on the team for long enough. He knows the offense. He knows Josh Allen. He has a leg up in just about every single category over Marquez Stevenson. Stevenson isn't fighting with Isaiah McKenzie for a role on this roster. He's fighting with Kumaro. He's fighting with Isaiah Hodgins. He's fighting with the other guys who are playing out for that wide receiver 6 spot. So I think we need to try and table that Isaiah McKenzie versus Stevenson talk.
Well, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing with Stevenson and Isaiah McKenzie is you're right. Stevenson is fighting for that 6 wide receiver spot. You are 100% right. You can clip that and play it as your ringtone anytime you feel bad, but you are right about that. When it comes to the return role, right? If you're a coach and you're looking at player A, who's been with the organization for a little bit longer, who's a little bit older, and then you're looking at player B, who's brand new, and player B has a higher ceiling, right, than player A, would you rather take your lumps with player B, knowing that his ceiling is higher and could do more than player A, or would you just go with a safe bet? Well, the good GMs, they're going to go with player B. Now, that's why I said it's a 25% chance that Stevenson takes the role. It's McKenzie's job to lose. It is McKenzie's job to lose. And I'm okay with being wrong, but when he does eventually lose that job and he's the return man, I want everybody to apologize to me. And I want people to go to @SportsRock1, right? I want you to apologize to him as well. Yeah, as the return man. I think it's a completely different receiver.
That's a different conversation.
Yes.
So we're talking about on offense. I would say McKenzie plays like the great role of like
coming in on week 17 and catching a couple of balls. Yeah, he does play a good role at that.
Yeah, he had 7 touchdowns last year.
Those sweeps or like
the jet sweeps,
jet sweeps.
Cole Beasley can do that. Stephon Diggs can do that. Not
when they actually run them, because
Stephon Diggs can 100%. He's probably the best person on our team.
We need him to run routes. Sometimes those are fakes, but sometimes those fakes because how dangerous McKenzie is.
I get that, and I'm not arguing that McKenzie is going to not make the team as far as the wide receiver 6, right? But okay, but we're talking about return man. You know what I'm saying?
Return man.
Stevenson was drafted. Stevenson was drafted not because of how good he is as a wide receiver, but how good he is at returning kickoffs and returning punts, and that's why he's been brought up and compared to Isaiah McKenzie. Not because of wide receiver 6, but
it is going to be interesting. Role. I think we're all in agreement that at wide receiver, Isaiah McKenzie has that leg up over Stevenson.
Yes.
If we're talking about, since it is a conversation though with the return job, Dom, do you think that Stevenson has a chance to win the return job?
Yes.
Do you want him to?
I mean, I can go remember Isaiah McKenzie messing up in the return like the year before we got Roberts. So yeah. I don't know, maybe.
Maybe you just want someone sure-handed.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I want Andre Roberts back, but I mean,
I think a lot of people want Andre Roberts back. That was one of the.
He's just smart. He's just smart back there. I don't know. He's not he's just very smart.
I mean, you drafted Stevenson to be the return guy. I mean, sure, he was a 6th-round pick, but that's why you drafted him, was to be the return guy. Now, if he doesn't make the roster,
body types for sure.
I mean, if you just go and look at his highlights and you just they're all pretty much returning kicks, returning punts. I mean, you drafted him to replace Roberts as the kickoff man, which is why everybody has tied him to Isaiah McKenzie. But we'll just have to see. You know, if he makes the roster,
we can run two
who knows? We'll find out. And you could do that. Of course, you got Micah Hyde as well, but you don't really want your star safety to be.
No, you definitely don't. I think the interesting thing will be if either Isaiah McKenzie or Stevenson could win the kickoff or the kick return role and the punt return role, that would solidify the job. Like if they get the leg up in both of them, then that completely changes any sort of discussion, even in the running back room, because that's where Breda comes in the running back room too. Of like, he has returned a couple kicks before. Not that he's had that job consistently by any means. It's only been a couple, but he's done it before. So he's another guy who might be in that discussion. Brandon Powell, I think, is his name, the guy who is literally just a punt returner, kick returner. Mm-hmm. But I think it does still come down to Isaiah McKenzie, Marquez Stevenson. Marquez Stevenson, if he can win just the kick return role, then I think from there we look at him like that takes away the roster spot from Kumaro, Isaiah Hodgins. I like it. There's a lot of interesting nuances to the discussion where like there's other guys who might have a leg up on Stevenson despite him having that return man capabilities.
It's possible.
Before we move on, because I feel like we've talked about this.
And Powell. It was him and Powell like that they were handling kick return.
It was just those two?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, all right, so it sounds like it's a 2-man race for that job potentially, like at the moment.
Before we move on, I do want to say I have the utmost respect for Isaiah McKenzie. So before y'all start tagging him in absolutely everything and trying to get him to have beef with me, I have the utmost respect for him. Like I absolutely do. I think he's a wonderful guy. I think he's a wonderful player, right? I think he's in a very crowded wide receiver room, and when he does eventually leave Buffalo, he's going to stick somewhere, and he's going to make a team very, very happy. But I have the utmost respect for him. So before y'all come at me and start coming, saying stuff and tagging him, like, that's just rude. Like, come on now. We're just having a healthy debate here.
Yeah, I mean, literally not putting anybody down here. Like, they have their own skill sets. I think Stevenson, whether he makes the team this year or not, is going to be a asset for the team moving forward in years to come. We talked about that before, how even if I don't think he might make the roster this year or not, whatever, I think he's going to be a key role in the offense moving forward. I do think it's really good to see all the reports that Josh Allen has had a strong camp so far, started out really strong. Cole Beasley has had a really strong camp so far.
He was looking good. He was looking really good.
Yeah, and it's just you want to hear that.
But Diggs didn't practice. I don't know why, but
I think they're giving Diggs and Beasley, they're going to get rest days because they know, like, once the season comes, I mean, their bodies are going to be hit hard. They get the ball all the time. They're going to be taking a lot of shots. So, like, I get why they would have rest days right now.
But, I mean, the first public practice.
I know why you laughed there.
No, you don't.
Because they're going to be taking a lot of shots?
No.
Because that kind of –
I was actually about to say, so the Bills are moving to Austin, huh? And then just have it transition like that.
No way.
We got to do this. We got to talk about this.
Here's the thing. I will say my rant, and then I'll just shut up about it because I could give two shits. I'd give two shits, one in this hand, one in the other hand, and I'll make a shit sandwich. I do not care. I do not care about that they're threatening to Austin. In fact, I put it on Twitter, and somebody was like, I said they're not moving. It's just a contract. They're not going to Austin. It's just one of those things where they say that to get the city to leverage to give them more money to build a stadium. And somebody was like, "Oh, say that to San Diego, Oakland, St. Louis, blah." And they went down a list. There's about 5 teams. And I did a quick Google search because Google is your best friend, and it took me 5 seconds because I typed in last time the Bills threatened to move out of Buffalo, and I hit send. First article that popped up was an ESPN article, and it said every team that's threatened to leave the city that they're in since 1995, and there was 15 teams. Did you know that the Saints threatened to leave New Orleans twice, one in 2002 and one in 2005? It's not going to happen. It's little things like that.
The hurricane.
Yeah, I think 2005 is a little different situation.
2005 is a little bit different, but 2002, it's you know what I'm saying. And then even Oakland, like Mark Davis was like, "Hey, help me build a new stadium." And Oakland was like, "No, I'm not doing it." And he was like, "All right, well, I'm going to move to Vegas." And they said, "I bet you won't." And he called Vegas, and Vegas was like, "Absolutely, I'll help you build a new stadium." And they built him a stadium, right? That's a completely different situation. What's going on right now is that, the owners, they're trying to get the city to pay for that stadium, right? That's all it is. They're not moving to Austin. So everybody shut up about it. It's not happening. It's just, can we just play football? I'm so over this offseason. I'm over it. That's my rant. I'm done.
You've had a couple of rants like this offseason.
Shut up, everybody. We're not moving to Austin.
Yeah, we're not. And we better not. But it's just like the fact that the thought was put into, like, come on.
What they did is they picked a random city. They were like, you know what? We're just going to move to
No. They said
Austin.
That's like,
Austin definitely wants a team. Like that's not something that's like a new thing. Austin is a city that's been brought up before as a city that would want a team. Yeah. So the way I look at this is I just look at this as like it's a slap in the face to fans. I know it's a negotiation tactic. I know they're not actually going to end up moving the team, but if you have the best fan base in the world, which the Buffalo Bills have the best fan base in the world, Bills Mafia by far the best fans anywhere. Yes, show up through 17 years of a drought. Sabres fans who are also Bills Mafia, like one and the same, obviously, they show up although the Sabres are absolute garbage. I think the Pagulas know that if they were to move the Bills, if they actually tried to follow through on it, it would destroy them. Like they would have success in the other city because it's an NFL team, but it would destroy their business in Buffalo with the Sabres. Like fans would be so upset.
If they do that, they would sell the Sabres.
I don't think. Yeah, they would probably have to actually sell the Sabres.
They would the 100. They don't. I don't think they care about. I don't think they care about the Sabres like that much.
Yeah, I just think when I look at it, to even say that they would consider moving the team if need be, despite it being a negotiation tactic, I just look at it as a slap in the face to the fans because the fans are always there. They show up no matter what. We're always going to be there as long as the team is in Buffalo, and some people would be there even if it wasn't. But the team needs to be in Buffalo. It's the best fan base in the world. There's no reason to make these stupid veiled threats that you're going to leave when everybody knows that in the end you're just going to stay. And I hate that this stuff goes public.
Well, who put it? It got leaked somehow.
It got leaked by their side so that the city would feel the pressure because Bills Mafia is up in storm right now, and they're like, "You will not move the Bills." Blah blah blah, and they're like, "Hey, by the way, they want us to be here. You might as well build the stadium, or we're going to move." And then you're going to have a bunch of angry people, and you're not going to have a team. It's only a slap in the face until the next stupid thing that happens this offseason shows up, and that one will be the slap in the face.
They ask for people to pay. But then also want them to pay more for the jerseys and you're not giving us ownership. Like, no.
It's not Green Bay. The fans don't own the team.
Yeah, and we already paid for the facility, right?
I mean, I think some renovations they're publicly funded, at least in some sort. So but I don't know. I don't think it's going to end up being anything in the long run. It just caused a lot of issues for people getting upset online in the short term, because we all know long term the Bills are going to be in Buffalo. Right. And it's just frustrating to hear ownership try and even suggest that they might not be, because we know at the end of the day they're going to be.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a vicious cycle. We talk about, like, I don't want to pay for the new stadium, but it's like, okay, well, having an NFL team builds up revenue in your city. And it's a big cycle because all of a sudden now you're giving that revenue back to the team by building a stadium, which is going to drag in more people into your city, right? To be even more revenue. And it's a vicious cycle. So at the end of the day, who cares? I think we did the math on it, and it was like $8.75 for a whole year for everybody in New York City to have, a tax throughout the whole year is $8.75 for them to get the amount of money that they want. I think that's what it was. I don't know. I saw it on Twitter, so it's got to be true.
It might, but everything on Twitter is true.
When you break it down, and if that is true, I don't know.
Whatever you believe, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if that is true or not, but if you break it down and it does end up being less than $10 for 1 year, it's like, would y'all not just be like, okay, yeah, here's $10 to give me a super badass stadium?
I guess let's. I'm going to put you on the spot again, Dom. What would you be willing?
Going crazy over here.
What was that?
My puppy's going crazy over here.
What kind of puppy do you have?
A Labradoodle.
Oh, that's super cute.
You need to stay.
That's fair.
He's a 5 months.
Oh, he's a little troublemaker though.
Yeah. Oh my God. Because I'm not paying attention to him.
I had to make sure. So I had to make sure my dog is 2 years old. I had to make sure that he ran outside and played with the other dogs in my apartment complex for like an hour earlier to make sure he was tired enough where he wouldn't be running around trying to play during this. Because been doing this for the last year now. Yeah. I've been able to at least figure out okay, I know he needs to have this much exercise beforehand so he could sleep at least for that hour, whatever that we record for. But yeah, Labradoodles are so cute. Where was I? Oh shoot, where was I going to go?
I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Yes, I'm going to put you on the spot.
All right.
How much would you be okay with if it ended up affecting your bottom line of it? Let's say it causes $1,000 in tax, $2,000 in tax, $50 in tax. Is there a number where you're like, no, I don't. This is where for me, I'm out. I don't want the new stadium if it's that.
I mean, honestly, I don't think we would even see it come out.
I'm kind of with you.
That's where I'm at. It's it's kind of dang, that's kind of savage trying to ask for 100% of the fans is real savage. But if I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't know. I can't tell you half the things probably.
Yeah, no, that's fair. You're not I think that's the reasonable answer is that. What the number ends up being, you're not really going to notice it in the end.
The city where I live decided to, do a wrap on their city transit, their buses. So they decided to wrap them, get them new paint job, new everything, they made them look like trolleys, right? So they decided to wrap them. And I was talking to my wife, and I was like, that's funny. Where did they get the money to do that? And they can't fix the roads around here. And then I'm looking at a bill that I had, and on this bill there was it said, Tennessee bus tax, and I was like, these and they had literally taxed us and taken it out of it, but I think it was 5 cents. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, 5 cents from everybody that lives within the city limits or the county, it was probably the city limits because it's a bus, it's not going to the county. So everybody that lives in the city limits, and they took 5 cents out of our paycheck. Now this is obviously at a smaller scale than the big state of New York, and they're asking New York to fund it. But if you're looking at 5 cents, I didn't even notice it. I was like, that's taxes. They go up, they fluctuate. You know what I'm saying? So it's okay, who cares? They're doing a little pool, hey, we're going to move to Austin. But at the same time, they're asking for 100% for the city to come back and be like, we'll pay for 75%. And for them to be not good enough, we're still moving to Austin. It's going to go back and forth for a few months. All of a sudden, the state is going to be like, you know what? We'll give you 50%.
It might go back for a year, man.
Yeah,
because they have a lease for at least 2 years right now, right?
Well, I think they got another year or two. I think you're right. I think it's 2 years left.
I knew something was up when I read the report, and it said that we might have to play somewhere else for a few years. You see that report before?
Yeah, I don't think I think the city is smart enough to know that that's also a negotiation tactic. We're going to see stuff like that come in on both sides, where the Pagulas and their team, they're going to put out stuff of oh, we might move, and then the city will be like, okay, well, you'll have to play somewhere else, and you don't get the Bills fans who are in Buffalo, and then like so there's going to be stuff like that. I think that's going to unfortunately just come out in terms of they got to figure out the negotiations, and like we've said, in the long run,
be figured out.
They're going to get it figured out because the Bills need to be in Buffalo. It's just not right any other way.
It's the only team that plays in New York State.
Yes, New York State can't lose its only football team.
Yeah,
that would be my tactic.
Yeah, like well, look, we're New York State's only team.
Yeah, we're the only person. Well, if you look, I don't know how it is, but they're probably the only team that actually brings in revenue for the state of New York because the other two play in New Jersey. So when you're looking at it from that way, unless they pay out of state, whatever they have to do, but still, you got to think like Buffalo is probably bringing in more revenue for the state of New York than the Jets or the Giants.
Maybe that would be. I'd be interested to look at that.
Is merch involved with that?
I don't know because merch doesn't go towards the state of New York. It would only be like the stadium ticket sales, stuff like that. I think the biggest thing is like taxes for the stadium, land taxes, whatever it may be. I don't know how stadiums work, but I think they're in New York.
Probably
so anything that happens
at
that stadium
for that reason because of the taxes.
Because of the taxes, that's not a bad. It's not a bad thought process. Yeah. That and they suck. They blow. All right, moving on. What's the next topic? What are we talking about next?
We're gonna real quick before we get back in. We're gonna do record predictions. But before we do that, you did mention that you kind of titled your Buffalo anthem this year, around that, like with a theme of like, well, the Bills, kind of like the Bills should be in Buffalo type of thing. So like, give a rundown of what you ended up deciding on the title to be, and then the background of that, and then we'll move on to the actual record predictions that we're gonna be giving out.
All right, so the song is going to be called a Bill City. So like, the theme is probably like this a Bill City. And then, so a Bill City is going to be the name. And I think it's going to be dope. And people are going to want to listen to it because of the name. And then they'll listen to it and hopefully they'll like it.
Do a little pregame pump up. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be hype. It's going to be hype. I can't wait till they listen to it at the end. Sure.
Yes, and once again, it will be the outro song at the end of this show, so make sure you listen all the way through for that. So, record predictions. Do you want to start, or do you want me or Casey to start?
So, I went through. I mean, I try to be as unbiased as possible, and I came up with what is it? 15 and 16 games, right?
17 games this year, yeah.
16-1. The only loss I have was to Tennessee.
Oh.
Because I feel like that's a lot of time in between games. Like we have a late game against the Chiefs. I think we're going to get the Chiefs in the regular season for sure. And it's like a night game on a Sunday night, and then the next game is not until a night game on a Monday night. I feel like that time. I feel like they
heading into a bye week too, which
and I think they get caught. I think we're gonna get caught slipping. I think we might get caught slipping. That's just my prediction right there.
So but I think 16-1, beating the Chiefs, beating the Buccaneers.
Yep. I got that. That's happening. It is happening. It's happening.
Mark it down.
We better beat the Titans though. No, I'm not gonna say that.
So are we gonna push this? Are we gonna push this to 17-0?
16-1.
16-1. All right.
Said hold strong.
Hold strong. All right, Casey. What do you have for your record prediction? Unmute.
I'm saying I'm always muted. It doesn't really matter. 12-5. Yeah, that sounds about right. That gets you 17. Yeah, they're going to make enough.
Yeah, that gets you 17.
They're going to win enough to win the division, and they're going to win enough to get into the playoffs. So I don't necessarily like schedule predictions.
Regression.
It's not necessarily regression. I mean,
regular season regression. I'm not knocking that pick or that decision either.
But I think people when you don't say something like 17-0 or 15-2, or
people
you start going
come at you.
Yeah, they start to come at you, and it's like, hey, can we temper back expectations? I think this is a really good team, but you're going to have games like the Arizona game from last season where it's won in the last 2 seconds of the game and the Bills are deflated. But then again, they go off on this mean streak and win the next couple of games in a row. So there's going to be games like that. So getting to 12 wins, I think, and people don't realize how hard it is to get to that double-digit win in the regular season. Like, they don't realize that. But the Bills getting to 12 wins, I think, is a huge accomplishment for them. But just because you win the regular season does not mean you're going to win the whole thing. So I think they win 12 games, right? And I think they go into the playoffs and they win their division for the second year running. So yeah, that's all.
Oh man,
Do you think people will be disappointed if they at the end of the regular season? I'm not saying like whatever happens after the regular season, the Bills could go on and win the Super Bowl. Obviously, we know that's a possibility if they win 12 games. But you think if the Bills only win 12 games, I guess I'm setting you up for failure there. But if the Bills win 12 games, do you how disappointed do you think fans would be, or would they be disappointed at all?
Let me start out by saying Bills Mafia is my family, and I love Bills Mafia. But we are the biggest bunch of crybabies out there when it comes to anything. So even if they did win the Super Bowl and they only won 12 games, they'd be like, well, they almost didn't even make it to the Super Bowl because they only won 12 games and blah, 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 blah. And you'd have to hear about it. So do I think that there's going to be some fans that are going to find the disappointment out there, right? And be like, oh, we only won 12 games. Yeah, we could have, been undefeated, been the second team in history to go undefeated and then win the Super Bowl, blah, blah, blah. We could have been that, but we weren't. I guess we have more things to do next season. There's always next season. There's going to be fans that are like that. But if you're a true fan at the end of the day, just watching a good game, watching a good football game, the Bills winning, the Bills going to the playoffs, there's no feeling like playoff football when your team is in it, right? And I know I can speak, and you can speak, and Dom, you can speak to that it's been hard these past couple of years with the Bills not in the playoffs and not winning a game. But to have them win a game in the playoffs and then move on to the next one, I'm forgetting about the regular season. I don't care if they barely jump in. They're in the wild card, and all of a sudden they get hot and they win the Super Bowl. I personally don't care. I want them to
win. Look, if they get hot and they win the Super Bowl, I'm cool with whatever happens before that.
Whatever happens,
it would make me nervous.
That's what I'm saying.
It would make me nervous if they had to get into the playoffs through the wild card.
We won only 12 games.
It would make you nervous they won only 12 games. And see,
after looking at the schedule, after looking at
that's kind of where I wanted to go with this is after looking at the schedule, because I know, Casey, you've been busy all day. You have a newborn baby. It changes your schedule of like how much you're able to look at things, even just for a little bit beforehand. I'm going to run through the schedule. Yeah, you are also back at work at a new job.
Holding a baby in one hand and working in the other hand. It's been absolutely wild.
So what I want to do before I give you my predictions, I want to literally just run through the schedule. I just want you to say win or loss.
Okay.
And we'll keep track of this. Yeah. It's home against Pittsburgh.
Win.
Away against Miami.
That's a win.
Home against the football team.
That one's a tricky one. Being a home game, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 1. But the football team, Washington football team, is a really sneaky good team, especially that defense. And if that offense actually catches on fire and that defense holds down what they can do, it could be an absolutely wild game. So that's actually one that everybody at home should be circling and should be ready to watch that game. But I'm going to go ahead and chalk it up as a win. If it was away, I would say L. I would give them a loss if it was away.
Okay. Home against the Texans.
Against Tyrod Taylor.
That's a win.
Yeah, Tyrod's homecoming.
Tyrod Taylor.
if he's still the starter by that point, because he was supposed to have a homecoming game last year and didn't end up happening.
Away, stuck him with a needle.
Yeah, that was just a weird situation. But it ended up being the best thing for that franchise. But that's just it was such a weird way for it to all go down. Yes. Away game, Kansas City.
I'm going to say that's an L. I'm going to say we take a loss there.
First night game, by the way.
Yep, first night game. Away game, Tennessee.
I'm going to say an L there as well.
Okay, so right now we're at 3-3.
Am I doing that? Yeah, 3-3. I did that math right. All right, bye week. Home game Miami.
That's a win.
Away game Jacksonville.
That's a win.
Away game Jets.
Yeah, that's a win.
Home game Indy.
That one's another very tricky one.
Tough game, yeah.
It is a tough game, and I think I'm going to go with the home field advantage. Well, you did say we're at home playing.
Home
Indy,
game, yeah. Correct? Home game. Yep.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to give it a W there just because of the home field advantage. It also depends on how Carson Wentz is coming along. He is going to have surgery. He might be available for week 1. With that being a few weeks into the season, I'd like to see how he's progressing to get back to where he is. But if everybody's even, no injuries across the board, team against team, with it being a home field, I'm going to give the Bills advantage there. So I'm going to say a W.
All right. Thanksgiving Day, Saints. At Saints.
I'm going to say a win here. That almost feels like a trap. That almost feels like a trap game, doesn't it?
We won the last Thanksgiving game.
But yeah, I mean, it's a big stage game.
Yeah, and I get that, and I get that the Saints have lost pretty much everybody on offense, but Kamara. But still, that screams trap game for me.
Home game against New England.
Monday night.
I'm going to say a win. I'm going to say a win there.
Away Tampa.
I'm going to say an L there. I'm going to give Tampa the edge.
Home Carolina.
I'm going to say win.
Away New England.
I don't know why New England is a tricky one for me to. It does. It makes me think about it. And with them playing in New England, this is a coin flip for me as well. I mean, it just is. I know. I'm gonna go ahead and say it's a win. I'm gonna say it's a win.
Home versus Atlanta.
I'm gonna say that's a win too.
Home versus the Jets.
I'm gonna say that's a win.
All right, so this kind of played out exactly how I was hoping it would. Just so you know, you just predicted 13-4.
And see, that's the thing because what was my prediction?
It was 12-5.
12-5. So it's like
it's not like it's that different.
And there's like 3 games where I was like, I could go either way. You know what I'm saying?
Patriots game.
The Patriots game, and even the Tennessee where I said the Bills were going to lose. Like that game tells me, hey, it could go either way as well. Tennessee's a really good team. People forget that. I guess it's a small market team, just like Buffalo, but
they whooped us last year in the.
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah,
they did. So there's little things like that could go either way. I just temper back your expectations. The Bills don't have to go undefeated for it to be considered a successful season. I think that's the whole point of everything.
I think what I want to see happen is, honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing some of the losses happen later in the season. I don't think the schedule is set up that way. But I wouldn't mind seeing that happen to kind of like just get that out of the way towards the end because I think we went on a roll last year towards the end of the season and they hit their peak a little bit too early. I'm actually going with 13-4. I think the Bills I actually think Washington's going to be a loss. That's a sneaky tough game that early on it's a tough game. So I think that's a trap game potentially, not because I think Washington, their defense obviously really good. Their offense, if their offense is on and the Bills defense is still kind of getting things figured out with the defensive line rotation and all of that, you never know. So I think that's a potential early semi-trap game. And then the other one I looked at was Indy as a potential trap game. But I think Tennessee is a win. Kansas City is a loss. I'm struggling with New Orleans or Tampa Bay, but I think one of those games is a loss too. So 13-4 is where I'm at, though.
I think people forget, like, this is why I hate schedule predictions, right? Because every team will change every single year. Right. And, of course, you don't win the Super Bowl in the offseason, but when you start talking about teams like Washington caught on fire last year at the back end, right? Mm-hmm. They started becoming one of my favorite teams to watch play outside of the Bills. So I really like Washington. And then you start thinking about Carolina, like Carolina is one of those teams where they kind of remind you of the Bills a little bit, not because of the whole, the Carolina connection, blah, 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 but just the way they've been built, right? The way they've been acting the past year, the way they acted. I could see them really catching on fire. And at the end of the day, it comes down to, are these teams that are fringe teams where it's like, hey, they could be really good. Jacksonville's another one where you got Trevor Lawrence and people were like, oh, he's a really good quarterback, which he is. He's a really, 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 really good quarterback, right?
Come on.
It depends on the – look, hey, at the end of the day –
I think he's going to be better than Tua.
I mean, yes, I also think that. But come on now. Don't tell me Jacksonville's going to be a trap team here.
At the end of the day, if you let me finish my sentence, then you would understand things. But like it goes back to saying these teams are upgrading. These teams are upgrading. So when you start thinking about Jacksonville, you are thinking about they only won 3 games, but they could come in there and they could win. Any NFL team can win, right?
I see 9.
That's another thing. They could have a winning season this year,
and great for Trevor Lawrence. No
absolutely
matter what,
astounding.
No matter if they make the playoffs or not.
Yep. I agree. And they're in a weak division in the South, right, where you got the Texans, and I say weak, but the Texans are really the only ones down there. But I mean, that's 2 wins right there. So I don't know. I mean, there's a couple of games where you don't need to be slipping. You don't need to be sleeping on opponents just because of their track record in the past. I understand this is a new team, and the Bills could be the same way, right? We could have an outstanding year last year and then come out and all of a sudden our offense is being a little floppity, right? The defense never really catches on. Obviously, as a Bills fan, you don't want that, but to have expectations like that, I mean, that's a real thing. That's why I don't like scheduled predictions.
No, I mean, I don't love doing them, but I feel like it's something that we have to do as a show just before the season starts, because we got to be able to say like, let's go back to this. We have to be able to do that.
Exactly.
I would.
Yeah, like if you're 16-1 ends up being right, that's going to be awesome for you.
I would like to revisit about midway through the season. And then go from there, because I think that's really the best time where you're going to find.
I'll come back on.
Come back.
Yeah.
Come back.
Yeah, we'll come back. We'll revisit that. Yeah,
because that's where you're going to find the most accurate kind of prediction is about after the first 4 games. Then you can guys figure out, hey, what kind of team is this team? How are they going to play?
It's
the same. It's the same with gambling.
Get pressure. If we get pressure, we can win any game.
And that's going to be true.
I'm expecting Josh Allen to get better as he did. I'm expecting to get just take another leap. I'm not. But
I think everybody's hoping for that. Yeah.
But if he stays the same, I think we're still good.
We are.
I mean, if he stays the same, he was an MVP caliber player last year. So I have a couple of quick yes or no questions for you, and that's how we'll kind of wrap things up, Dom. All right. And it's all Bills related. And then we'll give you a chance, obviously, promo your show that's going on this weekend. Once again, your song and all that stuff at the end, too, because we want to make sure that all of that, give you as much time as possible for that. So, rapid fire questions. Casey just bounced? All right. I guess Casey bounced.
No, sorry. I dropped something. I want to be professional and take attention off of me, but that didn't happen.
So, all right. So, just give me yes or no answers. We don't need full explanations on this, because I think these could all be long discussions. But I want to know if you think it's going to happen or not. Josh Allen MVP.
Yes.
Bills having a player who has 10 or more sacks.
No.
1,000-yard rusher.
No.
700-yard rusher.
Yes.
Multiple 1,000-yard receivers again.
Yes.
Any player with double-digit touchdown receptions.
Yes.
Give me an over or under. Are you taking the over or the under on 7 Bills players in the Pro Bowl?
Under, because we're going to the Super Bowl.
I love that. That's how we got to end it. That's a great way to end
it. If anybody's wondering, I turned off my camera because my head was itching and I had to take off my hat. And I didn't want. I was like, "This is Dom's time to shine. Let me turn off my camera real quick." And Neff was like, "Whoa, did Casey just leave?" And it's like, man, I wanted to. My head was itching. I didn't wash my hair today. It's been in a cap all day. It's gonna look awful. I was trying to be very professional, Dom. I'm sorry about that.
You got the dad head going.
I did, man. It is what it is.
All right, so I think we're gonna have to put that clip out, just like literally yes or no question and answers. I like that, honestly. That was a perfect way to end it. Bills they can hit the under because we're going to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
So
I agree with all your picks.
Gotta think quick.
So
they were
once
really
again,
Thank you.
do a little bit again on your song and then your show, because you do have a show going on this weekend also.
Yes. So this weekend, August 7th, I'm opening up for Rick Ross.
Big things.
Yes.
Is this the second time? Is this the second time that you've opened up for him, right? Or has it been more than that? Because I know you've done it at least once.
Nelly. I did
Nelly. Okay, that's who it was. Yes.
2 years ago. So this is my second show in Buffalo this year, like ever, since I've been in Buffalo for 10 years.
Oh, that's big.
So
that's big things. Yeah.
And it's been Nelly and Rick Ross. August 7th this weekend. I'm opening up for Riff Raff August 29th.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, at the Rec Room. Yeah. But I'm gonna debut my Bills song, Bill City.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna debut that this weekend on stage at the concert. So hopefully it gets the crowd lit. Which I think it will. It will for sure. It'll get everyone listening to this lit too when they listen to it at the end. They'll get hyped for the season.
I like that. Yeah. I do actually have one more question I just thought of that I don't know if it'll ever get back to him, but who was a better hooper in high school, you or Henry?
Henry Burton?
Yeah, Henry Burton.
Man, me.
I'm gonna have to send him that.
Henry was nice though.
I'm gonna have to send him that.
I have two questions before we move on, just two though, and I'll be quick about them. One's not a question, one's a statement. Well, it's kind of a question. We'll ask it in a question form, so I don't sound rude. Can you / will you sneak Nap and I into one of your Bills anthem songs?
You know what? I was actually gonna tell you that I would make a special one. Yeah, I'll make a special one with like, with you guys in it for sure.
See what if it makes you feel any better? I ask when NFL players come on here, I ask if they'll dedicate their touchdown to us. So I just felt like that was the equivalent of that question for you.
They might not do that, but I'm going to do that.
Antonio Williams said yes. Reed Ferguson was pretty much like, I got more important things to do.
And then my second question that I have, it's a very important question. Every single guest that comes on the show, they have to be asked. This, of course, they have to be asked this question, right? Do you think that I could take a tiger 1v1 in a gladiator style match if I'm giving about a medium sized sword?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. Okay. That's it.
Right, yeah,
thanks for listening to Nap Knows Buffalo.
I can't believe you got another on there.
It's a non-zero. Like I'm saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a chance that you could win. That's all I'm saying.
At the end of the day,
he's going to. You're saying there is a
no. I'm saying that he asked. He said, "Can he?" Like, so yes, you can. It's possible, but will you? I don't know you that well. So I don't know if you're special with the sword, man. Like,
let me tell you this. Let me just put it in these terms right here. If I am put in, let's say, a gladiator or an arena, right? I'm put in an arena. They open this little door, right, and the tiger walks out, right. The one thought process is going in my mind is I'm going home to my family. I'm going to skin that tiger alive. I'm going home tonight, right? So I'm just saying, look,
that same thing.
All that tiger's thinking is I'm finna eat this little white kid, but that doesn't matter to me. I'm going to stab him.
Regurgitate him for my kids.
I'm gonna stab him straight in the neck, and I'm gonna win. Also, I haven't brought it up to my wife.
That's possible.
I haven't brought it up to my wife yet. But I think I'm gonna go as the Tiger King for Halloween and have my wife be a tiger and my daughter be a tiger cub. What do you think, Kyle?
Oh my god,
that's not a surprise whatsoever. Like you didn't have to tell anyone that. Anybody who knows you or has heard you talk about this would have just assumed, like, oh yeah, no, Casey's going to go as Tiger King for Halloween when he gets a chance.
Well, and see, I started this Tiger Crusade well over a decade ago, just because I think I joined the Army and I was like, you know what, I'm full of piss and anger. And I know for a fact I can take a tiger. I think I'm on top of the world. So like I'd started it 10 years ago, and then the Tiger King had come out, you know what I'm saying? And I watched it with my wife. It was very interesting. But then like I have this little girl, right? And my wife was like, you get to pick what we will be for Halloween. I don't dress up for Halloween. But yesterday around 4:00 in the morning, while she's screaming her head off and I have to go and get her in the car and drive around the town, I was like, you know what? What if she was like a little tiny baby cub, like a tiger cub, and I was the Tiger King? I think my wife would really enjoy that, and I would enjoy it too. Like I don't want to dress as a superhero or something from Toy Story.
Those
like
bad thoughts and those on that.
Yeah,
side.
just that's the thing, man. That's the one thing that I love about being a dad. Like all of a sudden you'll zone out. You'll be thinking about like random dad things. Like I remember telling my wife, I don't drink anymore, but I'll get like bottles that you have to actually pop open with like a beer tab and whatnot, and I'll pop it open on like a table or the kitchen drawer, just all fancy redneck style. And my wife's like, "Can you not do that?
Do you ever use your teeth?"
No, I never use my teeth.
No, you're not that redneck.
I have one time, but it hurt really bad. So I was like, I'm gonna go find like some leverage and pop it off on a table. Oh, I just knocked the camera. But I remember my wife was like, can you just not do that? Can you use the beer opener for once? And I was like, look, I've got to do all these little beer tricks that I learned when I was in high school, when I, joined the Army, all this other stuff. So when our daughter starts dating some dude named Chase, you know what I'm saying? He starts doing all these like beer tricks that he's not impressed. All right, she's not impressed because she can go home and Daddy's been doing that for 20 years with cream soda in a glass bottle. So like, come on, Chase, this imaginary boy that's in 16 years is going to date my daughter. So those are dad thoughts, Kyle. In case you're wondering,
let's hope that doesn't backfire on you and she's impressed by that.
If she's impressed by that.
I'm just saying.
Raise that hand quick.
All right. So the way we like to end the show, Dom, I'll say, let me get a go Bills. We'll go around the circle, go Bills, end it out like that. We go with that?
Yes, sir.
All right. So everybody, make sure you go download Dom's song when it comes out. Give the name one more time.
It's going to be called Bill City.
Bill City.
Yes, and make sure you go download any other music of mine too. You can just go to my Instagram, Dom Faded, and then you can click on the link. There's a limited amount of Rick Ross tickets left, so if you want to go, grab them. See the new Bill song perform live after you hear it on the end of this.
Perfect.
Go Bills.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. One more time then. Let me get a go Bills.
Go Bills.
It's the Mafia.
I hate when Bills. You do this, Casey. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
It's a Bill City. Yeah. A Buffalo Bill City. Yo. It's a Bill City. It's a Bill City. Yeah. A Buffalo Bill City. Bill City. Yo. We got Josh Allen, got Steph Diggs, we got Cole. Deion Dawkins, cause you know it's about to snow. Mafia, you know we on a roll. No competition and it's not even close. Yeah. Ike McKenzie on a jet suite, maybe it's a fake. Honestly, it's a TD either way. When you got Diggs and Bees and Gabe Davis, three-headed Singletary, Moss Breda. Who gon' stop us? We the greatest. Forget Mahomes, forget Kelsey, forget Hill. Come and replay us, cause we ready to bash him like Boogie. Yeah, we ready. Moving for Cody 4. We ready. Kick they bucket like Ike. Yeah, we ready. Dawson Knox with a spike. Are you ready? Season tickets from Hype Up the Team ready. Buffalo, this is our team forever. Forever. We got Josh Allen, got Steph Diggs, we got Cole. Deion Dawkins, cause you know it's about to snow. Mafia, you know we on a roll. No competition and it's not even close. It's a Bill City. It's a Bill City. A Buffalo Bill City. It's a Bill City. Yeah. A Buffalo Bill City. Yeah. We got Josh Allen, got Steph Diggs, we got Cole. Deion Dawkins, cause you know it's about to snow. Mafia, you know we on a roll. No competition and it's not even close. It's a Bill City. Yeah. A Buffalo Bill City. Yeah. What? It's a Bill City. Yeah. A Buffalo Bill City. Yeah. Taron Johnson with a pick six. It's just too easy. Don't pass it to Treyway. Please believe me, we got high right behind him and Poyer free. Please don't run up the middle unless you wanted me to star. Greg Rousseau can show you what he's about. Trey Edmonds and Matt Milano can't get around him. Our team is grounded. Oh yeah. Sebastian like Boogie, yeah, we ready. Moving for Cody Ford, we ready. Kick they bucket like Ike, yeah, we ready. Dawson Knox with a spike. Are you ready? Season tickets, I'm hype up the team ready. Buffalo, this is our team. We got Josh Allen, got Steph Diggs, we got Cole. Deion Dawkins, cause you know it's about to snow. Mafia, you know we on a roll. No competition and it's not even close. It's a Bill City. Yeah. A Buffalo Bill City.